What if the secrets of ancient civilizations weren't buried in pyramids or hidden in forgotten scrolls, but encoded in their very numbers? Imagine how deciphering a single symbol could rewrite history. What if understanding the ancient concept of zero, or the base of 60, could reveal how humanity first measured time, built cities, and sought to describe the divine? This odyssey through ancient mathematics is not about obscure equations. It is about how early minds constructed worlds of meaning through symbol and numeration. The invisible architects. How numbers built worlds to the ancients. Numbers were not mere instruments of calculation, they were instruments of creation. Before letters inked words, tally marks etched existence. Archaeological finds, such as bone tally sticks from 35,000 years ago, show that humanity first carved meaning into the material world through repetition and rhythm, rather than through language. The earliest civilizations, Sumerians, Egyptians, Chinese, transformed this instinct to count into systems of monumental influence. In Mesopotamia, by around 3000 BCE, cuneiform symbols became the syntax of economy and astronomy. The Sumerians' base 60 or sexagesimal system transcended trade. It structured the skies. To this day, our measurement of hours, minutes, and degrees of rotation carries echoes of that lost logic. But why 60? Because 60 is divisible by so many numbers. It could accommodate calendars, star maps, and taxes with equal efficiency. To the Sumerians, numerical harmony was a mirror of cosmic harmony. Their merchants, priests, and scholars believed they were not inventing mathematics, but discovering the mathematics of the universe. In ancient Egypt, numbers blended seamlessly with religion and architecture. Hieroglyphs for numerals appeared by 3400 BCE, reflecting a decimal base structured on human anatomy 10 fingers as a divine template. Yet Egyptian mathematics went far beyond counting. They pioneered fractional representation through rational decompositions, 1n forms, creating a practical yet elegant system suitable for constructing temples aligned with celestial events. These were civilizations that built with numbers as others build with words. Their monuments stood as translations of numeric language into physical form, echoes of eternity, decoding forgotten logic. Each ancient number system encapsulated its maker's worldview. The Sumerians conceived cycles within cycles. The Egyptians saw balance between heaven and earth. The Maya, centuries later, encoded eternity itself into numbers. The Maya vigesimal system, based on 20, arose in Central America roughly 2 millennia ago and incorporated a breakthrough concept, zero. Represented by a shell symbol, it was possibly the first such conceptual zero in human history. The Maya used dots for 1, bars for 5, and positional notation, an innovation they shared in spirit with the Babylonians. Yet their mathematics was also mystical. Numbers guided calendars of prophecy, charting cosmic cycles with precision rivaling modern astronomy. Contrast this with the Inca Quipu system of knots and chords. Though no written script survives from the Andes, Quipus recorded not only inventories and populations, but perhaps myths and governance. Their knots formed a three-dimensional language of base 10 relationships, a fiber architecture of logic. For the Inca, arithmetic was tactile, embodied a dialogue between hand and cosmos. Even simpler systems, such as the Roman numerals, displayed cultural attitudes toward order and permanence. Lacking zero and positional structure, Roman numerals reflected empire's architecture, additive, cumulative, monumental. Their elegance was visual numbers carved in stone, immutable as empire itself. The more we study these systems, the more apparent it becomes. Each was a philosophy disguised as arithmetic. Numbering was never only mathematics. It was ontology, cosmology, and theology woven together. When zero wasn't a hero, the power of absence. The absence of zero to us seems almost incomprehensible, yet for millennia, civilizations thrived without it. To a Babylonian scribe, nothing existed as a blank, a literal space between wedge marks on clay. Egyptian accountants distinguished quantities by context, not voids. The Greeks debated infinity, but struggled to quantify nothing. This absence forged different intellectual pathways. Without zero, there could be no negative numbers, no place value as we know it, but there was also greater intimacy with the numeric fabric of reality. Numbers were felt through proportion, through geometry and rhythm, not isolated in symbols. The Hindu-Arabic number system, developed in India between the 1st and 4th centuries CE, solved the dilemma. It introduced a true zero symbol, perhaps the most revolutionary abstraction in human thought. Borrowed by Arab scholars and diffused into Europe by the 8th century, it transformed computation, algebra, and timekeeping. The world shifted from counting what was present to acknowledging the presence of absence itself. Yet perhaps more profound is the question, what was lost when numbers became purely operational? Ancient systems engaged the mind spiritually and sensually. Counting without zero forced people to feel numbers as relationships, not mere placeholders. The language of the gods, math as more than measurement. In Egypt, to measure was to honor the divine order known as mat harmony between heaven and earth. The Rhind mathematical papyrus described numbers as rules for inquiring into nature and for knowing all that exists. To an Egyptian priest-mathematician, solving equations was an act of cosmic alignment. Every pyramid dimension resonated with celestial ratios. Every proportion symbolized equilibrium. Pythagoras, who studied in Egypt, inherited this belief. To him, numbers were divine principles rather than quantities. A musical chord and a planetary orbit both obeyed the same numeric harmonies. Thus, the Greek philosophical tradition of mathematics as sacred truth emerged directly from Egyptian numerology. In Babylon, mathematics mapped heaven itself. Astronomers used base 60 calculations to predict eclipses and planetary motions, believing that numerical order revealed divine intention. Similarly, the Maya priests interpreted their calendrical numbers as rhythms of the gods' time made visible. These ancient systems reveal a common ethos. Number was sacred speech. It described reality, mediated between mortal and cosmic, and stitched together economy, architecture, religion, and governance. The enduring legacy, reclaiming lost wisdom. When the decimal system triumphed with its abstraction, simplicity, and universality, it did not erase these earlier visions. It absorbed them. Every clock, compass, and calendar today carries imprints of ancient logic. The 12 hours, 60 minutes, 360 degrees, all are living fossils of Sumerian mathematics. The influence rippled beyond arithmetic. Ancient Chinese counting rods inspired algorithmic thought. Indian zero birthed modern computation. Egyptian geometry set the stage for Euclidean proof. Meanwhile, rediscovering systems like the Qipu offers insights into data encoding and non-written communication fields at the core of AI and digital memory today. Historians and mathematicians now reinterpret these number systems not as primitive forerunners, but as alternative intelligences, diverse expressions of reasoning shaped by environment, spirituality, and necessity. The quinary, vigesimal, and sexagesimal bases remind us that mathematical truth is plural, not singular. Ancient numeration systems embody resilience, adaptability, and creativity. They teach that to count is to comprehend, that structure itself can be sacred, and that within every forgotten knot, mark, or glyph lies a map of the human mind's ascent toward abstraction. Our modern mathematics began not with numbers, but with meaning. The Sumerian reed pressed into clay, the Inca knot tied in wool, the Egyptian scribe shaping fractions, all were gestures of reverence toward an ordered universe. Decoding these ancient systems is more than scholarly exercise. It is the recovery of a lost language of wonder, the poetry of civilization's first mathematicians, who saw in every number the heartbeat of creation itself. Remember then, every time you check the clock or trace an angle, you are repeating ancient incantations. The wisdom of their numbers still counts.